Hello everyone, welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. In today's video, I have something very exciting. I don't know if you guys are into any anthurium news or into that genus in particular, but if you are, then you might have heard that Home Depot stores got anthurium Michelle dock blocks. If you don't really know what they are, essentially they are a brand name Red Crystal by a breeder named Dock Block. There was a list of all of the stores that were supposed to get them. Initially, they only came out in the Portland, Oregon region, and then a week after, it was rumored that they were supposed to hit stores on the weekend. I looked up where I lived, and there were 2 Home Depots by me that could be getting them. I think now I heard something about the store needing to actually request these anthurium to be sold in their stores, so even if you see your store on the list, they may or may not have it, so I would suggest for you to call first just to make sure. But I went ahead and I traveled to my nearest Home Depot store. Oh, by the way, there are going to be chapters for everything, so if you feel like skipping around, then just click down below. But I'm just going to tell a brief story time about me acquiring this anthurium before I show it. I went ahead to the nearest Home Depot store by me, and I kind of had low hopes just because it's not really like a big town that this Home Depot was located in, and I'm like, what are the chances that it's going to be here? And I did record a tiny bit of it in the Home Depot store, so I will go ahead and post that while I'm talking since I didn't talk in the video. I'm still very weird. I don't know if I can get to the point where I can talk to a camera by myself in a public setting. We approached the houseplants area. I was initially scouting out the plants on the tables, and I didn't see any. They're pretty striking, so you would see them afar, and I didn't see any. And then I feel like I got deflated a little bit, but then there was this rack next to the houseplants that was taped up, so there was like a clear tape all around the rack and there were plants in there. So I went over, and literally the first leaf I saw was the plant that I ended up getting. It was like stuck right onto the cling wrap in the front, and I was like, oh my god, they have them. And my boyfriend happened to be there with me, and he didn't really understand the hype or like why I was so excited, but I was like, oh my god, they have them. Luckily, there was an employee nearby. She cut away the wrap around all of the plants, and as she was doing this, she remarked how weird it was for them to get new plants on a Saturday. Apparently they only get new plants over the weekend. After she unwrapped that shelf, I went ahead and got my hands in there, and I picked up the one that I got first, and then I took out my camera and I began to film all of the other ones in the rack that I saw. I think there were about 6, I want to say, of them, and they were a good size. I would say most of them were flowering size. They're definitely not like a teenage plant. They're quite a mature anthurium. All of the leaves were more or less okay. I remember one of them being pretty beat up, but after going through all of them, I decided to keep the one that I saw first. I still can't believe I got my hands on it. I really thought that this weekend would be a bust, but I thought, hey, why not check? I feel like I've been babbling enough. Let's just go ahead and pull out the one that I got. So this is the Michelle that I ended up picking up at Home Depot. There's actually 2 plants in this pot. This is the first leaf that I saw against the saran wrap, and this is the leaf that really drew me in. It's pretty perfect, honestly, for being transported and all of that. There are a lot of other leaves all around it, as you can see. You can even see some of the, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but on the baby leaves down there too. This is the other plant. This leaf is still a little bit soft. So it did get scuffed up a bit during transport because this was the emergent leaf, but I really love, the thing that I love about Michelle's in particular, or basically any red crystal, is you can see that very clear pink-red veins going down throughout the anthurium, and you can also see it in this one as well. Just such a stunning, super pretty plant. The veins are very sparkly and silver, and then you get that pink stripes throughout the veins. One is definitely in caterpillar. I can't really tell if the other one is yet. That is why I picked it. A, because it was in really good shape. B, because there was also 2 plants in this pot. So today I am not only going to show this to you, we're also going to take it out of this pot and repot it. For me, it kind of depends on, usually when I get new plants, I kind of tend to let them acclimate a bit before I repot them and everything, but I really don't like the mix that this plant is in, so I just kind of want to get it out of here and into a medium that I prefer to work with. So before we kind of take it apart and everything, I'm just going to go over how it was packaged in here. So there is this outer cache pot, and there's an inner black nursery pot that houses the plants. We have a stick that has the tag on it, and then there's also this which tells you the price. I think it's funny because when you see the price right above it, it says 2 centimeter anthurium. I don't know when they made these tags, but this plant is nowhere near 2 centimeters. These are $94, $98, or $95 pretty much. I did not pay $95 for this plant. If you don't know and you were in the military, my boyfriend happened to be in the military and we used his Home Depot account, but you get 10% off at those stores. So we got an extra 10% off of it. So it ended up being $85 for these 2 plants actually. So like around $40 for a large mature dock block. I'm so sorry if you can hear some loud music next door. I think they're like having a party. Might as well just keep powering through. Let's just take out this wooden stick. Oh, and then there's also another stick right in the middle here with this green clip that's holding the leaves in the middle together, so kind of like a stake to support the plant. Let's take this off. So it says the name of the company and what it is. It's a dock block Michelle, and then on the other side it just has some care conditions and everything like that. I noticed that this didn't have like the normal dock block tags. I'm not sure if they're going to, or if my location just happened to not have them and have these instead. Okay, let's set up the potting mat situation first. I brought you guys down a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing here. Let me try to get this out of the pot. It's pretty snug in there. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's not a black pot. It's actually gray beige. So this was a cover pot, no drainage holes. Oh boy. This, I can tell, is very well rooted. I see some healthy roots on the bottom already. Look at those fuzzy roots. And because it's a red crystal, they're also pink. I love the roots of red crystals. They're so fun. I have a feeling this is going to be very well rooted, definitely root bound. The mix is basically the mix that you find a lot of houseplants in the big box stores. I think it's like a peat mixture, cocoa peat mixture, which I do not like. Let's see how hard it is to take it out. I also don't want to get rid of these roots, but I feel like I have no choice. I'm going to try to loosen them a little bit. Let's see. Ooh, it's getting stuck on these roots down here. Hopefully that's better. Okay, something's happening. Do a little shimmy. No shimmies. Okay. It is out. Let's see. Oh yeah. It's really well rooted, but look at the roots. They are healthy. Thank God. I think I would have definitely been disappointed if these were rotted. Yeah, really, really well rooted. All right, let's just take this apart. Even though I don't like this mix, there is something super satisfying about getting plant roots out of cocoa peat mix, just like how it falls away. Let's also get this plant support stake out of the way. Look at this big chonky tip. I wonder if this is just gonna be the start of maybe big box stores carrying more niche plants, or if this is just gonna be the one time this happens and then they're gonna realize maybe trying to market these plants to the general public isn't a good idea, and then they're just gonna stop after this plan. Regardless of what happens, I'm kind of glad that I was able to kind of get in on the action. When I first heard about this happening, well, number one, I was a little bit in disbelief because I don't know if you guys saw any of the plants that the Portland stores were selling, but some of the photos that people had, those plants looked absolutely massive, like even bigger than mine. And I feel like mine's pretty big, but they definitely are not the same size, because I have also seen people post plants that are half the size of this and would probably qualify to be as like more teenage size anthurium. They're all still $95 to my understanding. I know some people were able to get them for like as low as $20 because some of the Home Depot employees marked it down to $20 because they were like, oh, there's no way anybody will pay $95 for a plant. So they just wanted to sell them, which is very funny to people that are not in this hobby to think that $95 is an exorbitant amount to spend on a plant. That almost makes me ashamed of myself for how much I've spent on plants, way over $95, but not quite. When people are not into your specific hobby, they will never understand why people pay what they pay for certain things, right? So yeah, people got them for as cheap as $20, and I know if you happen to find one of these that is super beat up, I know you can always ask the manager to cut the price for you. So if you happen to have some nice employees at your Home Depot store, you might be able to get a discount on these plants as well. If you're interested, I would definitely look up where this brand is offering them. If I find the map, I'll go ahead and post it down in my description box below, and you can kind of see if you want to check out your local Home Depot. I haven't bought a houseplant in Home Depot or any big box store in such a long time. That's how a lot of us got started in the plant hobby, is just going to our nearby big box store and buying common houseplants, and how excited you got just to find large size houseplants. Now it's just so funny how particular my plant buying habits are to buy like these tiny plants for like hundreds of dollars. It's just, oh gosh, how far down the rabbit hole I've fallen. We are slowly, very slowly making progress. I really don't want to break off a lot of roots, so I'm kind of taking it gentle. I will probably go ahead and fast forward this until I'm done. I'll see you in however long this takes. We're almost there. So close. Here we go. Ah! Oh my god, the root systems are so intertwined together. That is insane. Almost. I almost have them. Okay, hold on. Off the bat, I can already tell which one is the more mature anthurium. I'll go ahead and talk about that right after. Ah, yay! Finally! Whew! Look at those root systems. That is insane. Just judging on the root system, you can see which plant is the bigger one. It's this one here on the right, and I can tell not only by leaf size, but can you see I have no idea if you're going to be able to see that, but do you see how large the cataphyll is? So this is, keeps on wanting to focus on something else. So this is the size of the cataphyll. It's actually quite big and it's pushing a leaf right now. The other one is also in cataphyll, but look at how small that cataphyll is compared to the other one. So this is definitely the smaller anthurium out of the bunch, but in no way is it small. It's still pretty big. And in the middle, it feels like at one point there was a plug because the material right at the middle of the root system feels a little different. I am gonna wash off these roots and just toss away all this cocoa peat, and I will be right back. So I've been waiting so long for the music to stop, and my conclusion is that it's probably not gonna stop until 10 o'clock. That's 2.5 hours away. So I'm just gonna continue and pray that the camera doesn't pick up all of the copyrighted music. And if it does, then I will spend probably an hour trying to figure out how to take music out of the background of a video. So the show must go on is what I'm saying. Okay, now that I have everything cleaned up and the roots are washed off, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of take you plant by plant a little bit more in depth since now they're apart. This is the root system and we have some new big healthy roots. This is the smallest leaf that the larger anthurium has. This is the next one. The one after that. This one got a little scuffed. It's not too bad. This next leaf. This one and the current one. So this is a very strong seedling. As you can tell, all of the size jumps between those leaves were very significant. This is the other plant that was in there. The root system is not as big, as you can probably tell. This is the smallest leaf attached to this plant. This is the next one, so you can notice how it's not as big, but then there was a size jump to the next leaf. Next leaf is a little bigger. A little bigger. This one seems about the same size as the last one, and then now this is the emergent leaf that definitely got a bit scuffed, and this is definitely the biggest, so there was a size jump. These are the two plants. I'm gonna go ahead and probably do the bigger one first. So after going through quite a bit of pots I have, I'm gonna go ahead and use this 8-inch net pot that I'm gonna put in an 8-inch plastic bucket. This is gonna be a much better opportunity for the plant to grow even bigger, but with these I like to put a lot more clay pebbles in here, so I have some leca that I'm just gonna go ahead and fill the bottom of this with. And I have my normal mix that I've been putting a lot of my plants into this year. This is half pon, a quarter tree fern, and a quarter pumice. And this one is even more chunky than I normally make it, so I think this will be perfect. I'm gonna just put a little bit on the bottom. When I try to place plants into pots, I try to spread out the root system as much as possible because I don't want a clump of roots, and then if they all start to rot, then the whole thing rots that much quicker. So I try to spread them out to the sides as much as possible. I hope I have enough for this plant. We'll see. There was not enough. Definitely not enough substrate. That's okay, I have a second thing of potting substrate. Okay, here's another one that I got. This one's a lot more dusty than the other one, I think, because there's a little bit more tree fern in it. And if y'all haven't worked with tree fern before, when it's dry, it is very, very dusty. Oh my god, I forgot how much substrate an 8-inch pot takes. And it's still leaning. I might use that stake to kind of help support it a little bit. That's actually better with the stake in there. So this is what this situation looks like. I usually put them in these 8-inch buckets and they fit pretty snug in there. So this is the first plant repotted. For the next one, I'm gonna use this, I think it's a 6-inch, I believe, and I'm just gonna pick out all the big chunks of leca that I have in my mix. Usually I don't have this in my potting mix, I just happen to have it because I reused it from another repot that I did. So just fast forward this part. Okay, so I have a nice layer of leca on the bottom. I'm just gonna take this plant and do the same thing I did with the other one. I'm gonna spread out the roots as best as I can. This is gonna be a little bit of a tighter squeeze than the first one. It's so funny, not only do I have a party going on to my left, to my right, I have my dog whining outside the door. So this video has all types of noises going on in it. I'm so sorry. And usually my videos are relatively more quiet than this. All right, this one is looking good. Should I also use a stake on this one? Why not? It's a little bit wiggly in here. And let me find a little clip. Just gonna clip it here. Okay, it's a bit more stable now. And usually for these, I'm gonna put it in this cache pot. So that's what that looks like. Okay, let's clear everything up and then we'll wrap up this video. Okay, we are back. These need to be watered because the substrate was bone dry. I have my nutrient mix in here and I'm just going to give them a good drink. So that does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you actually did end up getting an anthurium Michelle out of your local Home Depot, because that's just wild that this is happening right now in the plant world. It just kind of goes to show our niche is kind of maybe becoming a little bit less niche-y. I don't know. I know that's not a word, but humor me. So these are the plants, and now that they're separated in their own containers, an 8-inch and a 6-inch, I can't believe I got these for $85 together. I think that's such a steal, to be honest. I won't be surprised if this one actually starts to flower since it's so big. Just quickly, some things that I'm working on, some new stuff in the future. I have a how to propagate Hoya linearis, and then I also really want to purge some of my Hoya too. I just need to get a total number of Hoya I have and then probably do a downsize. Look out for those in the future. That wraps it up for me. I hope that you have a wonderful day and I will see you in the next one. Bye.